Hello YouTube, and welcome back to part 18 of XWO Gaming's Guide to Dark Souls Level 1 Edition. In this episode, we're going to be making our way through the Catacombs again and to the Tomb of the Giants. The first thing you want to do is walk to the Undead Parish and speak to the blacksmith.
I'm afraid you'll have to look for someone else.
From here, you want to modify the Occult Club and make it a Divine Club +5.
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us.
Do any more upgrading that you need, and then leave the blacksmith behind. Equip your Divine Club and head up to the bonfire. From here, warp to Firelink Shrine. Next, make your way back to the Catacombs by following the route that I'm taking here. On your way down, just beat up the skeletons as usual. The reason why we're using the Divine Club is because the skeletons won't respawn if you defeat them with this weapon. And it doesn't matter whether you've killed the necromancers or not. And if you're lucky, one will just fall off the edge like that anyway. Run off the edge and head back to the bonfire that we visited before. Rest up and do the usual routine. And make your way back up. Deal with these skeletons. And head back through the familiar path. Defeat any skeletons that you encounter. And then from here, we're not going to go into the catacombs, we're going to perform a little trick. As you can see below us, there is a platform we can land on. You need to approach it from the correct angle and then slowly step off the edge. Just be careful because there are the red heads there and they explode and they can knock you down into the pit, which will kill you. From here, you want to go to this corner, and if you look down, you'll see a summon sign if you're in human form. Drop down to that. We're not going to be using the summon sign, we'll be taking care of this boss by ourselves. Now get ready to sprint, because as soon as you roll off the edge here, a bunch of skeleton wheels will start rolling towards you. So run for your life down this narrow hallway, and eventually you'll reach a fog gate, so head on through. From here, equip your giant blacksmith's hammer, beat up the skeleton wheels if you want, and we're about to deal with the toughest boss in the game. So head on forwards and roll down into this room. So this is Pinwheel, and you're about to have the fight of your life. Rush in, give him a few hits. The end. And he drops the Rite of Kindling, and this allows us to kindle bonfires further, up to a maximum of 20 Estus flasks. After that long and grueling battle, we hope you've got enough Estus to make your way through the next area, which will be the Tomb of the Giants. Collect the humanity, and then climb up the ladder that revealed itself after defeating the boss. If you are lucky enough to get the Skull Lantern dropped from one of the Necromancers, now is the time to equip it in our shield hand. If you don't have the Skull Lantern, you need to follow the prism stones that are on the floor here, as they are showing you the way to go, so they light the way. As you go forward, you'll see a giant skeleton, so deal with him as quickly as possible. And bear in mind, there are giant skeleton archers up above, and they'll be raining arrows down onto you. I got shot off the edge there, that's why I'm collecting my souls again. These guys hit like a truck. Deal with them with pyromancy if you've got any. Being careful not to fall off the edge because this area is extremely dark. Continue down the slopes, and eventually you'll reach this guy. Don't speak to him yet, and head to the back and go down the ladder, and that brings us to our next bonfire. Now that we have the Rite of Kindling, use 4 humanities, light the bonfire up, restore your human form, and kindle this one 3 times. Now every time we rest here, we will get 20 Estus flasks instead of 10. Now obviously, Pinwheel is not the toughest boss in the game, and it's quite possible to get to him quite early and defeat him to get the Rite of Kindling early on. We haven't done this in this playthrough because we wanted some sort of challenge left. However, with 20 Estus flasks, a lot of the bosses become trivial because you have so much healing available to you. So after we're finished at the bonfire, head back up the ladder and head on this way. Head down the ladder in the hole in the floor, and you'll see below us there are several giant skeletons. Jumping down here is a guaranteed death, but we do need to deal with these guys somehow. So let's just go for it. Do a plunging attack on anyone waiting for you at the bottom of the ladder, and then either climb back up or deal with whatever skeletons rush towards you. Slowly walk through this room as there are more skeletons hiding in the background. They're quite easy to deal with if you've got any fire orbs left. So just take your time through here and deal with whoever's left. And this gives us the large divine ember. With that in hand, return to the ladder and climb back up. Or if you prefer, just use a homeward bone to get back to the bonfire. So climb up the ladder again. And this time, we're going to speak to Patches here. And he's going to ask you if you're a cleric.
You look reasonably sane. What are you doing in the Catacombs? Are you a cleric or something?
Tell him no, you're not a cleric.
No? Really? Then I'd have no qualms telling you. There's a fine stash of treasure right down that hole. I found it first, but, well, we're friends now. I'll split it.
He'll tell you that there's some treasure below.
It'll shimmer you blind. There, that hole.
He's completely trustworthy. So head on over to the red prism stone
Where's the issue?
and collect your treasure.
What's your problem? Take a peep in the hole and check out that treasure. This is what I do, my friend. The trinkets I'll be stripping off your corpse, that's the real treasure.
What a scumbag. So, collect the treasure which is waiting for us down here. One of which is the skull lantern if you don't already have it. Next, follow the blue lights. Get your bearings if you need to. And speak to this NPC here.
You're no hollow, are you? Thank goodness. Please be careful. There are two fierce hollows not far from here. They were once
She's going to tell you that her companions have gone hollow
who would let such strong
and they're waiting for you up ahead.
heavens.
So you must defeat them.
Nothing at all to be done. You're no hollow, are you? Thank goodness. Please be careful. There are two. They were one. Who is it?
So slowly make your way up ahead and they'll come charging out after you. These guys aren't too tough, but they do hit quite hard. Just be careful not to hit the other NPC while you're beating these guys up. And make sure they don't hit her either. If you get lucky like I did, you'll get a 2-for-1 there. So head on back and speak to the NPC, who will thank you for getting rid of her companions.
Pains me to think of the trouble my failings have caused. I am certain that both Vince and Nico are grateful to you. Thank you so very much. Here, these belonged to them. You deserve them more than I.
She'll give you the replenishment miracle,
I am certain that
but we aren't a faith build, so we cannot use this item. So we're about halfway done with this horrible area now. So continue on the way that I'm going. Following the blue lights if you're not sure. Being careful on the way, as these Tower of Bones enemies will spawn as you run through the hallways. Like most enemies at this point, they're fairly easy to deal with due to the weapons we have, but they do hit hard due to our low level. They also drop white titanite chunks, which we're going to need to farm a few of soon. So if they do drop some, that will make that job a little bit less tedious in a little while. So up the ladder and destroy the fake wall. And continue on this route here, which will lead us back to the bonfire. Speak to Patches again. And it's up to you what you do here, but I choose to forgive him.
I did you wrong, but I didn't mean it.
He sells some useful things, but they won't be needed in a level 1 playthrough. So forgive him or kill him, you decide.
Please, forgive me. You and me, we're jolly undead outcasts, aren't we? Oh, brilliant. A second chance. Wonderful. I had a feeling you'd understand. I did. But, if I were in your shoes, who knows what I'd have done. But now we're friends again, eh? I did you wrong. These temptations...
Exhaust his dialogue if you want, and then head on this way following the blue lights. Continue on slowly and deal with any skeleton dogs that are lurking in the darkness. These guys will really mess you up, so be extremely careful when dealing with them and proceed towards the fog gate, then head on through. Another death transition there, because that skeleton dog there, along with the archer to our left, really gave me a hard time. So from here, head towards this skeleton dog on the ramp between the two blue lights. And once he's down, go to where he was waiting for us. Head on down the ramp and into this hole. And follow this path that I'm taking. At the end is the effigy shield, but nothing else. Backtrack, avoiding arrows along the way. Always be sure to hold your skull lantern up so you can see where you're going. And this time head on down and follow the blue lights to the left. Head around the corner and this will lead to another bonfire. Rest, repair and kindle as usual. After you've done all that, head on out from the bonfire and back the way we came. Being careful because all of the skeleton dogs will have respawned. I recommend using pyromancy against them to deal with them quickly. And get rid of this pesky skeleton archer while you're here. Next, head back up. Just trying to get my bearings. As you can see, I get totally lost. So let's try that again. From the bonfire, head back up. And down this slope here to the left. Be careful as you go, because more skeletons are hiding in the darkness. Pick up the white titanite chunk. I made a grave mistake there by hiding in the alcove. But by the skin of my teeth, I managed to survive. So don't back yourself up in that corner. And head on this way to deal with yet another skeleton dog, or run past him. From here, carry on down. And to the left there's a hole. Either climb down the ladder or just roll down the hole. You want to be in human form here, because we're about to be invaded by another NPC. And this NPC holds a useful shield, which we want to collect. I missed the crystal lizard there, but that doesn't matter. Let's head back out to deal with Paladin Leroy. He's able to heal, so try and get him to heal, so you can spam him to death like that. And once he's down, pick up what he drops, which is some humanity, the Sanctus shield, and the Grant weapon. If you equip the Sanctus shield, this shield will slowly regenerate your health. Moving onwards, carry on through this hallway. Take your time because more bone towers will spawn. So just smash them down with a jumping R2. Watch out for the one that spawns behind you. Up ahead, there's a couple of Tower of Bones and a couple of skeletons. Try to deal with them with a ranged attack, especially the archer here. Being careful not to aggro the skeleton that's hiding on the left. Deal with him one-on-one and then head on through. This next room can get quite messy because several pinwheels will spawn in. You'll also notice lots of tiny skeletons spawning out of the water, and this is another great place to farm humanity because they spawn almost endlessly and we're not too far away from a bonfire if we need to respawn them all. So head on through this area, dealing with the pinwheels as we go. One jumping R2 is enough to take them down. Just be careful because they do spam their magic, and that can take you down in one hit. Don't forget to equip that divine club. Then roll through this gate here. Head on through the fog gate. And jump down the hole. Or another cutscene will begin. So this is Gravelord Nito. You'll notice you took some fall damage as soon as the battle starts, so heal up immediately and try and stay in this area. Because if you press on further into the boss arena, more of these skeletons will spawn and you'll get overwhelmed. This is why we have the Divine Club equipped, because defeating these will stop them from respawning throughout the boss battle. So bear in mind you had to deal with the boss and a bunch of enemies here. You want to deal damage to the boss using your blacksmith giant's hammer, but any skeletons that come your way, switch to your divine club and take them out using that. Nito's not too difficult and most of his attacks are telegraphed. It's the skeletons that are a bit more dangerous to deal with. As you can see, the boss keeps spamming that AoE attack, which is forcing me to roll further into the arena, which is causing more skeletons to spawn. You really messed us up there, but it's okay. Just keep on smashing away. Jumping R2s are the best to use. Just try and roll out of the way of that attack, or block it if you can. Try and stay at full health, just in case you get overwhelmed by the skeletons. So deliver the killing blow, and when you kill Nito, all of the skeletons will die as well. He drops his Lord Soul, some humanity, and at the back of the room, his bonfire will spawn. By now you should know the rules when it comes to bonfires. So repair, kindle, etc. And this is where we're going to end the episode. Join us next time for our penultimate episode, where we take on the optional painted world of Ariamis. As usual, leave a comment, like or subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell and turn notifications on if you're enjoying our content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time for episode 19.